do really like working with entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors. One of my clients is probably, at least was, I think he still is, one of the foremost experts in getting the New York Times bestseller list. And through him, I've made other contacts and whatever else. So, in terms of writing a book, yeah, I think everyone should have a book. I'm the shoeless shoemaker. I do not have a book. I've worked with lots of people who have their books. Your book is essentially a credibility piece. It's a very expensive and time consuming, at least previously pre AI, marketing tool.
That we do on a weekly basis and daily basis. This one is geared for marketing executives, tomorrow for private equity, and on Friday for innovation exchanges. We do that on a monthly basis. It's a way to connect peers, either as a provider of service or client of service, or both. And out of that, I found that many of them were coming to us looking for funding and generating revenue internally, of course, beefing up their business and growing it. And so we thought, what if we could bring them together to our world of co-venturing, where we can have people that can come in and be able to actually exchange their thoughts, ideas, and services, and be able to work together. And so created a world that we call CoVentures. This will give you a snapshot of our co-venture partners right now that deals with investments. Marketing is key. These are the two big areas I find that most of our co-venture partners and businesses are looking for. More revenue internally or externally, marketing certainly in various ways that they could drive their business. Additionally, there are some other co-venture partners involved in technology. Cybersecurity is top of mind. Almost daily, we're having a discussion about that. And we co-created an online training platform that we call cybersecurity.earth to be able to offer training, not just here in the US, but also globally as well, because it's online. We have an e-commerce platform from inspire.world and government surplus from government bids, distribution, both physical and virtual. That allows, from the virtual standpoint, crypto and blockchain, NFTs, digital platforms, and of course, consulting and training. From a healthcare standpoint, this used to be huge and big, as you mentioned, Anne, that where we're expanding that with Echo offering mental assessments, brain training with neuroplasticity, coaching, healthcare insurance, even with that. From an advisory capacity, of course, communications, coaching, consulting, training. Wealth transfer is a big area. RSL's doing the wealth transfer from the current boomer generation to the next generation. And we're bringing up another co-venture group in Malaysia with about 7 co-venture partners that open up that Southeast Asia corridor. And they're next to Singapore, Indonesia, and Korea, Thailand, many other places. So those are co-venture partners that we could tap in, and we have this week to have discussions about doing business with them. From a philanthropic standpoint, we have a nonprofit, Blackbird Global, recycling, sustainability, wellness areas. So my invitation is that you could join our community of co-venture partners and be able to get to know some of them. And I put on the chat box more access to information that you can have, as well as how to join. My invitation is we're looking for co-ventures and partners that could join, and also chairs, somebody that's willing to start up a group of leaders out there, co-venture leaders, that are willing to work in a network of other co-venture partners as well. So that's my invitation. I want to welcome Mark Later has joined us. Mark, it's been a while since we connected, but we've done some introductions. We're now segueing into big ideas or opportunities, ways that we could work together. So let me invite you, Mary Sloan. Mary Sloan comes from Vancouver, from a coaching standpoint, focused on wellness and health. And Mary, I wonder if you could say more about what are the big ideas in your industry, in your business. How do we work with Mary Sloan?
Well, I guess the big ideas are just, knowledge that, in fact, aging is not absolutely guaranteed. Aging is a disease. So we are going to get older. Time does pass. There's no question about that. If you've had your 70th birthday, you're going to have a 71st, assuming you're still alive. But aging, and I got this from David Sinclair. He works with one of the big hospitals out of the US, I forgot. He's got a book out called Lifespan. And he really is trying to work with people to make them understand that aging is a disease. And it's caused by the many diseases that we get, and often more frequently as we age. And that if we can prevent those, we can definitely slow down the aging process. And the fact that, we are seeing more centenarians, and it's possible for people to live much longer than what we used to expect. We've known for a while about the blue zones. So it's like, what do they do that allows so many centenarians to live there? And how can we replicate their lives? So those are my big ideas.
Well, I want to be in the blue zone all the time. So thanks, Mary. I think we're aware of a lot of those things that you mentioned. And of course, aging as a disease is one of the things that a lot of people are treating that. So if we could treat the disease, that we can live longer. And of course, a lot of people are thinking with technology and genetics going forward that we can probably live over 100, 120, maybe more than that. And so how are you getting the message out? How are you driving your business forward in the next 6 to 12 months, Mary?
Well, at the moment, I've just been reaching out to friends in the coaching space and people that I know, asking them to just give me feedback on my program. And then I'm just going to keep reaching out to the people that I know in the coaching space, which is a large number of people, and see, if I can get on different platforms and speak. And I was even thinking yesterday, I was at an AI conference, and I thought, everybody says get a book. Well, AI can write your book for you. So I thought to myself, well, maybe I should write a book on it, because people respect authors. Not everybody knows that AI did it. So anyway, those are just the ways that I'm looking at getting the word out there.
Well, let's find out. You're in a room full of marketing experts. And so let me invite people to provide some thoughts, ideas, recommendations, comments for what Mary is saying. Anybody? So I want to welcome Bob Norton's joined us as well. So here's the thought that I had, Mary. There has to be a differentiator. Yeah, you can write a book, and probably 80% of it could be done by AI, and then the 20% would be your differentiator. The key here, from my expertise, and Lynn probably, or David could say a lot better from a marketing perspective, you have to differentiate yourself. You can't just say, we're 70, we're going to be to 71. I think we get that part. The part is that we're 70, we want to get to 120 healthy and wise and live long. How do we do that? That's a huge gap of 70 years. So that would be a differentiator. How can you bring that kind of message out, Mary? Because I hear that from a lot of different authors. They're talking real longevity. Mary, what do you think about some of those things?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I have intend to have prospective clients do is take a lifespan test. Now, the lifespan test is put out by a life insurance company, which means it's tested a lot because they write insurance policies on it. So they clearly have a pretty good idea of what are the factors that affect your lifespan. So that's one of the metrics that I look at as I start coaching people, because I know I took the lifespan test, and currently it says I'll live till I'm 107. I'm trying to figure out ways that I can improve on that. So it's interesting to know what they consider the factors. One of them, of course, is smoking. Another one, of course, is obesity, and lack of exercise. So those were three big things that occurred in that lifespan test. So, you know, it's clear that there are definite factors that are known to affect your lifespan.
Well, you might look at Daniel Amen. He goes through 11 factors. 11 factors of lifespan. And actually, I came up with a 12th that he doesn't mention. So those three that you mentioned is part of those 11, but he actually does an MRI, a scan of the brain, to determine if the brain is healthy. So he's phenomenal to do that. You might look at that. So you could elevate your three requirements that you have to the 11 or the 12 that are out there.
I mean, there's more than that on the test. Those are just the ones that occurred to my memory at this point in time. But but what was his name again?
Daniel Amen. It's easy to remember because I think of amen. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So let's hear from Lynn McQuarrie. Lynn comes from Nova Scotia. Thank you for that. And certainly is a marketing expert, PR expert, is really knowledgeable in many different things. Somebody that you want to get to know. But let's hear from Lynn directly. Lynn, what are your big ideas in your industry, in your business? How do we work with Lynn McQuarrie?
I actually had a comment regarding what Mary was working on. And one of the things that I would suggest she take a look at is look at who else is in the space marketing to her ideal clients. There are lots of different associations and groups out there. I know I have cousins who follow along with AARP in the US and all the offerings that they have in their different areas. There's lots of senior organizations. I know in Calgary, there's the Kirby Center, there's other ones like that. So, where does your audience congregate is usually the first place of where you go. And then if you have people that you have tested or beta tested through your program in part or in full, survey them. What did they like? What didn't they like? What was clear? What was unclear? Success always leaves clues. And what the point is, you just have to pick up your little magnifying glass and take a look at it. So, but I'm happy to have a more involved conversation in that regard. In terms of what I'm doing, a lot of different things. I mean, I like working with clients that I resonate with. I think I've been doing what I do for a long time. That I get to be a little bit picky and particular, and not just do work for the sake of doing work. I like to ensure that I add value. I don't know if those of you are familiar with Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram. In the Enneagram, I'm a 2 with a 1 wing. So I'm a helper with a perfectionist wing. And in a Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENFJ, which means I'm an extroverted humanist who likes to get stuff done. So I think that kind of explains it. My company is called Handler Inc. because anything I've ever done, it was always give it to Lynn. She'll handle it. I will figure it out. I will get it done. I will find someone to do it. But it's handled. So I like to give my clients some support, peace of mind, confidence in what they're doing. I try not to pigeonhole myself in anything too narrow. I do really like working with entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors. One of my clients is probably, at least was, I think he still is, one of the foremost experts in getting the New York Times bestseller list. And through him, I've made other contacts and whatever else. So in terms of writing a book, yeah, I think everyone should have a book. I'm the shoeless shoemaker. I do not have a book. I've worked with lots of people who have their books. Your book is essentially a credibility piece. It's a very expensive and time consuming, at least previously pre-AI, marketing tool. But it's one of those things that you should have in your roster. So that's about it. I don't know what else you want to know.
Well, the shoemaker that doesn't have shoes, I think I heard that say. The marketing expert, what is the marketing expert? How do you drive your business forward in the next 6 to 12 months, Lynn?
For me, one of the things that's been beneficial is going up to attending some of these events with Peers on Demand. I usually meet interesting people. Often we have conversations afterwards. Sometimes that leads to more involved discussions on how we can work together and if it's a good fit. If not, I can point them in a different direction, and we take it from there. I've also very much enjoyed being part of the CoVentures group, and look forward to that continuing to grow and expand. So,
Well, thanks, Lynn. Let's open it up to the group to see if here's a great opportunity to ask a marketing expert her thoughts, her ideas, and also PR expert from Nova Scotia. Hopefully the
and if I
ideas
don't
from
have the
Nova
answer, I'll make something up, right?
Well, if the ideas are strictly Nova Scotia, then maybe ideas
No,
that could be used.
most of my clients are elsewhere across Canada and into the
Okay.
US. So I've had
Well,
them as far away as the UK and Australia. So
all right. Well, then
we're
we've
in a very
opened it up
global
to
dynamic.
connect with you. Let's hear from Antonio. He's doing AI with marketing. He's also doing it holistically and in wellness. So there's a lot to unpack there, Antonio. I wonder if you could say it better. What are the big ideas in your industry? Obviously, AI is top of mind. What are the big ideas in your industry, in your business, and how are you driving your business forward in the next 6 to 12 months? But first, what are the big ideas in the industry, Antonio?
I would say right now is the practical application of AI. AI is a big buzz, and I think people have different relationships with it. You have the beginners who are like, "Oh, I can use this to write blog posts." You have the people who have familiarity with it, and they're creating operational efficiencies around it. But then you have the people who are doing very well in the space who are using AI to create real automation, to create growth and scale in a way that could not be done before. So that I would say is the big idea, is the practical application. I work primarily with holistic and wellness professionals because it's a space I have a affinity in, and I would say it's an industry that needs it a lot for the purpose of getting the message out, getting their services out in the market space. So what we do right now, we have a lot of joint ventures, other organizations who are already in the space to partner to bring AI into their clients. We also run ads. That's something that works pretty well as well, right? Because again, right now people are looking for how do I use AI? We kind of tell people right now is that AI won't replace you, but your competitors using AI will. But they don't know how to use it. So that's what we really bring to the table is the practical application side.
Wow. So how about you personally for your business? How are you going to show up in the next 6 to 12 months?
As a thought leader, that's really what I see being my role is I have both a technology background and a marketing background. So bringing those two together in the form or I guess I would say through AI and being able to take the complexity and the ambiguity and the vagueness of this big word of artificial intelligence and showing entrepreneurs how to actually use it beyond creating social media posts and articles to really make a difference in their business. So I would see myself moving into the space of thought leader.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's find out what anybody might say about that with questions, thoughts, ideas, recommendations, comments for Antonio. Anybody?
Uh,
Lynn,
Hi,
go
Rocky. I
ahead.
just had a quick one. Antonio, I don't know if you're involved or a member of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, but I know they have chapters predominantly through the US. They did used to have chapters in Canada, but I think they're all specifically just across the US right now. I think there's a pocket of them in and around Boston. There's a few other ones. California is always a hotbed, but there's lots of different associations that cater and tailor to serving and supporting those in the health and wellness industry. I've got a friend of mine in Calgary. She actually trains people in health and wellness on how to run their business. So it might be worth providing an introduction in that regard. She actually ran a very successful business. Really smart cookie. I always enjoy my conversations with her. She makes me wish I was in that space. So anyway, um,
Awesome.
yeah, that
Thank
would
you.
be. But my thinking is always, where are the people that you want to meet? Where do they congregate? That's where you need to go and just show up. And it's sometimes it's observing and watching and being a part of, or just signing up for some of their newsletters so you know what's going on in the space, and then offering your expertise. And if they've got groups on Facebook and LinkedIn and other ones, those are ones where you don't necessarily are barging in and taking over the conversation, but you are becoming a part of the conversations that are out there. So that's
Awesome. I
my 2 cents
appreciate that.
worth.
Thank
And you're
you.
very welcome.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it, Lynn. Well, let's hear from another expert, David Wright, that has 18 years experience. He's an author. He's also focused in marketing. Maybe, David, you might say it better about what are the big ideas in your industry, in your business? How do you drive your business forward in the next 6 to 12 months, David?
Well, a lot of it's going to be basically doing a lot of the same things that I do for my clients,
Yeah.
making sure that we're everywhere that our ideal clients are, whether that's social media, whether that's YouTube. Search is evolving a lot. Google is still the very dominant player in the search market, but more and more people are starting to use AI tools as search engines, and they're using social media as search engines more as well, looking for recommendations on service providers or products, reviews, experiences, and so on, so that they can make a more intelligent buying decision. So you want to make sure that you're in all the places that your prospective clients are looking for you.
Well, that makes sense to me. I suspected that Google was giving way to some of the AI platform like ChatGPT or Perplexity or some of the other ones. What's your thoughts along those lines in terms of the right tools to use? You mentioned Google and how to go forward. And of course, you're an author too, and Mary wants to be an aspiring author. So what would recommendations or thoughts would you give to them?
Well, I've got 6 books so far, including 2 bestsellers. And someone mentioned earlier about how your perceived credibility goes up when someone finds out that you've got a book. I've definitely noticed that myself, and especially once they find out you're a best-selling author, it's even better. And Amazon in particular, they calculate their bestseller rankings every hour. So technically, all you have to do to become a best-selling author is be the bestseller in a specific category for an hour. And a lot of people leverage other people's email lists and other ways to encourage people to buy during a specific time as part of their bestseller campaign. And sometimes they'll offer different bonuses and so on in order to encourage you and entice you to buy right then versus waiting until whenever or never.
Let's hear from Carson. Carson is a managing director. He's involved in events, doing it globally as well. Carson, I wonder if you might say more about what are the big ideas in your industry, in your business. How are you driving your business forward? Carson, welcome.
Hey, thank you. So, just a little bit of background. I'm based in New York City, but I work nationwide. And so many of the events I've done lately have been government contracts, and then I've worked for private companies as well, whether it's Nissan, Estee Lauder, CBS, the list goes on. What I'd like to do from that is spin off and create my own entity, my own intellectual property, which I've done in the past, and they've actually have proof of concept, which are holistic health retreats, sci-fi, fact and fiction conventions, etc. I'm basically at heart, I'm a producer, a promoter in that genre, but I have a creative edge, and I use a lot of NLP or that type of stuff to bring together experience for those people attending the events. And so right now, what I'm working on is developing a health and wellness expo that will start somewhere in the region of New York City, New York, and then roll across the country in multiple locations. And at this moment, what I'm doing is looking into and building an advisory core of people who have something to contribute, who want to partner in what I'm working on. And so that's where I'm divesting and going into I guess I forgot what it's called, something I wholeheartedly would rather do than doing stuff for other people. I'd rather do it for myself.
Yeah, good point. So you mentioned that you're rolling out a health and wellness event globally or nationwide, I think you said, and looking for advisory group. Uh, Now, the health and wellness, are you thinking of doing this on a monthly basis, annual basis? How's that? What does that look like?
So basically, I'm looking at what would be a weekend event, the ones that work well for me, which I've never actually lost money on. I've always broken even. I have never followed through with them, and I've done five already years ago. But they happen on a weekend, 2 to 3 days. And so based on the success of how well it goes and how complicated it gets, because some of the events I produce take up 60 buildings, run up for anywhere from 3 days to a week. Some of the tours I've done are 80 city tours. One of the tours I did was a 200 city tour, a 200 location tour over 2 weekends. So it all depends on the capacity of what the capacity of the interest is. And it's going to be centered around chronic health. So people who are existing in pain, diseases, illnesses, or people who know people who are like that, want to find out more about it, or people want to ward that off and be in better health, and integrating the natural element and Eastern philosophy with Western philosophy and approaching this. So it's going to bring in a global base, but it'll cater to the domestic audience in North America.
Makes sense. We talked about earlier, Mary mentioned about the wellness area. What does it take to be in the advisory group, Carson?
First, what I found works for me is people who have something to contribute, to add to what I'm trying to achieve. And those people are already catering to those people, connected to other people that could be involved in the programming, whether as speakers, as workshop leaders, as people in media who could connect other media to promote this, people who would just help grow and expand this because it's starting from scratch, this type of event, because it doesn't exist anywhere else in right now in America.
Carson, let's hear from Bob Norton. Bob comes from uh, as an entrepreneur mentor. He has works with small, medium, and large companies. He has over 600 modules of training in his repertoire. He's grown 6 companies, if you call it grown correctly, sold 4 of them. He currently has 2 businesses. So, Bob, maybe you could say a lot better than I can about what are the big ideas in your industry, in your business. How do you plan on growing and expanding your business in the next 6 to 12 months? Bob Norton.
Well, I've been working on airtight management for a decade now and installed in about 200 companies, and it's by a factor of 10 the best leadership operating system for growth companies in the world today. What you mentioned is sort of a foundation or cornerstone, and that's the learning and development program for managers, which has been proven by research to be the #1 limiting factor on growth. Not too many people know that only 1 in 6,300 companies will ever reach 100 million in sales, and only 1 in 400 will reach 10 million, according to the Kaufman organization that studies entrepreneurship. So we enable companies to grow faster by eliminating the problem that Jim Collins talks about in Good to Great, which is that it takes 7 to 10 years for a company to figure out its internal systems. We do that by dropping in pre-built 6 systems for strategic planning, dashboards, management philosophies, cadence, and training, called Performance Accountability and Merit System, which is all about a meritocracy. We call it a Darwinian meritocracy. Process management, human capital acquisition and development, and a skunkworks system that adds to innovation. And when you have those disciplines, you'll probably be in the top 1% of companies, and over time gain market share and have continuous growth. So our big idea is creating the gold standard for that. In venture capital worthy companies, they're probably the top 10% of companies already, in terms of management team and quality and market opportunity. Typically, they've got to have $1 billion market opportunity, which is often the minimum for any venture capitalist with a long-term investment, as well as barriers to entry, sustainability of that competitive advantage of whatever they've got. So we do a combination or a hybrid of training, coaching, and consulting to create these high performance cultures. And we earn a piece of the business. Our business model is different because we have a $10 million guarantee that will add $10 million to the company's valuation and generate a 50x ROI on their investment with us. And we take a small piece of the company. So, like a venture capitalist, we're building a portfolio of small slices of the companies that we work with for a year, as the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for us, which allows us to do it very, very cheaply, probably 5 or 10 times faster than a company would normally do it on its own.
So with that, I wonder if you might share, how do you plan to roll out your business or grow it in the next 6 to 12 months? What's your thoughts along those lines, Bob?
Yeah, our goal is to add 5 certified airtight management consultants in the various systems every quarter. I have clients at a time doing this, and our goal is to reach 75 simultaneous clients by the end of next year. So, but we'll need to balance sales and marketing with that, and make sure that both sides of that equation are happy, that our consultants are getting enough work through our effective sales, and we're recruiting and training consultants, because these are people with, all with gray hair, frankly. They need to understand leadership, management, politics, selling, project management, and be top consultants. Whereas, some places you can get training to be a consultant, and be a 22-year-old just because you can write a $25,000 check for training, and that doesn't work with what we do, because we actually guarantee success.
Well, I don't know if I qualify as a gray hair because I keep doing the occasional browning just to keep it back. But anyway, my question, Bob, had to do with the consultants, the service providers. Are you looking at people that would be doing this as a full-time basis or more on a basis? And the reason I'm asking is I'm familiar with an organization here in Canada, specifically in Nova Scotia, called used to be called Boomers Works, and now it's Seasoned Pros. And often what they do is help find short and long-term placements for those who are more seasoned. A lot of them are people who have been CFOs in major companies, people who have been CEOs, etc., that are sort of semi-retired but not retired, if that makes sense. And if that's
That's
something that,
exactly who we're looking for. I think the
okay,
fractional COOs and CXOs are the ideal pool. And to answer your question, yeah, we want to keep these people as 1099 contractors and have them be part-time primarily. In time, I suspect, we'll pull in some of them as full-time people, but we want the diversity, and we also need to build a stable of consultants that will do things other than just installing our system, because we'll be identifying holes in the company's team that need to be filled. So we need a referral network of just about every kind of consultant and coach out there that we vet, that are appropriate for these stages of development and rapid growth. But I use the metaphor of we're like an HMO for doctors, but for those fractional, very experienced executives, the criteria is 5 years managing, 5 years in the C-suite as an executive managing managers, and then either 5 years a P&L at a substantial business, not a freelancing organization or something,
mhm.
or 5 years doing organizational change management. That's sort of the price of admission just to apply.
And are you looking at people to manage specific modules or full client
Yeah, they'll choose
rosters?
which ones that they prefer out of the 6, and there's a 2-module minimum, because we want everyone to understand the management philosophies model and our culture control that's so central to us being effective. And obviously we eat our own food in terms of using those techniques ourselves to manage people and to lead people to create this high performance culture.
Okay, I may have a couple of people in mind in Calgary actually that I can think of.
Yeah, I'd
So
love an introduction to that group. I've the last several months I've been
as long as you're
networking.
Canadian friendly, we'll get along just fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had clients in Toronto and other areas. And what we do is both timeless and industry agnostic. We
Yeah.
don't service nonprofits because we have the slice of equity that we're getting as an upside, and so that doesn't work with that. We don't work with government for lots of reasons I won't get into, mainly because I'm a radical libertarian that thinks government should be cut in half and generates and funds a lot of evil. And we typically don't work with pharmaceuticals because of the longer time frame of FDA approval and stuff like
And
that.
research and development takes such a big chunk of all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
too.
Our
So
goal
yeah.
is actually to six to eight business in 3 years. And we're the only ones that can do that because we're the only ones that work on all aspects of the
Mhm.
limits on the business and drive the three main factors that drive valuation. Almost everyone claims to work on top line revenue and pushing sales, right? And any
Yeah.
consultant in any area is gonna, attach themselves to that. But we also have 17 techniques to drive up the price to earnings ratio, which is multiplicative on that and the growth rate. And so if you double each of those, you've actually 8x the value of the business because they're all three of them are multiplicative in the way you value a business.
Okay. So I've got some introductions to take a look at. And my other question has to do with somebody who is starting small solopreneur genre. What is it in your
Yeah, we,
offerings
we
that
have
you would
lots of free
recommend that you would
resources.
have them move
Yeah,
up?
we
So
have lots of free resources and along that spectrum,
I mean, I love
there's
free, don't get me
paid,
wrong. I'm Scottish. I was looking at the paid stuff too, but
yeah,
okay.
there's paid courses. Our CEO boot camp that I've run since 2004 has trained thousands of CEOs, and I have people go through that, and anecdotally, I think it doubles to triples the success rate from the normal 80% failure rate to a 60% success rate or more. And I've had people go through it that called me after the weekend event and said, Bob, I've been working on these problems with my business for 10 years, and I solved them all on the plane on the way home using what I learned at the CEO boot camp. So that's the kind of transformational stuff we have.
Good. Anyways, Bob, if you can share your website for everyone so we can go check out, at least check out the free stuff. Because I mean, even if it's stuff I don't like, if it's free, I'll take a look. So,
Sure. Yeah. No, we've got a 1 hour course on the high level 30,000 foot view of the skill sets needed to build a scalable company. And I'll drop that in there too. We've got three
it's
different
probably
websites.
advantageous because I think most of us tend to look at our companies from wherever level we are. And sometimes it's important either to look at it from the outside looking in or from a higher perspective so you can sort of see the landscape and where it fits. So,
Yeah,
good.
well, we all grew up in one discipline, sales, marketing, finance, product development, or what's the other one? What I leave out? Sales, marketing, finance, product development, or operations, right? And so
Mhm.
everyone has that view, but you need a rounded set of those skills. We like the model whereby you cannot scale unless you have locked in senior talent with both high intelligence and high creativity that are the visionary, the operator, and the sales and marketing head. Those are the three primary people that you want to, be wearing golden handcuffs and have $10 million upside and stuck with you for 5 years because it's always a marathon, not a sprint. Building a company like this. I grew 2 startups to $100 million, so that's a 1 in 39 million chance statistically. So I like to say that hopefully I'm not lucky. It says I know what I'm
No,
doing.
but it's the evolution to get there that's always very impressive that people don't think about. So, anyways, thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Do this
Yeah.
on a monthly basis for marketing executives. The key here is that you could show up either as a provider of service or a client of services or both. My other invitation, my first invitation is that you join our community, appearsondemand.com, and get a chance to meet with other leaders, most of them in the US and Canada. But certainly we've got others that are joining in globally from other parts of the world. And my second invitation is that you join us tomorrow. We have a space for private equity executives, as well as for Friday for Innovation Exchange. You can certainly join freely and participate in the same way you joined here. My third invitation is that you might consider being part of our world. Our world is CoVentures.world, where we have CoVenture partners that have agreed to join in and exchange thoughts, ideas, and more importantly, do a revenue share. The key here is that they each have different areas. Blackbird is focused on nonprofit globally in 4 continents. Cybersecurity Academy, providing training online. Peers on Demand, we do that sessions on a daily work basis. And we've got others like Echo that focuses on humanity assessments, or Savvy.ai, focus on healthcare, employee benefits. So Entrepreneurs University, as Bob Norton mentioned, has over 600 modules of training and education, depending on who you are, small, medium, large size company. We're also focused with e-commerce solutions with Inspire World, and also the digital virtual space with Continuum. They're focused on NFT, blockchain, cryptocurrency, also with government bids for surplus equipment and the wealth transfer that RSL can navigate from the boomer generation to the next generation, and opening up in Malaysia with Room.world to be able to open up a CoVentures group there that would expand the connectivity so we can grow and expand to over 27 CoVenture partners with their participation. And our target is to continue to grow, and that you as a partner, CoVenture partner, can navigate any of the events that you have. The opportunity is to be able to freely participate as a CoVenture or be a partner. There is a monthly fee of $99, but allows you to do revenue share, masterminds, community platform, have promotion on the website, as well as being able to have video recordings, but more importantly, marketing offerings and access to funding. And what I'm looking for is chairs. Somebody could start a group of CoVenture partners to be able to manage that. The opportunity is to not just do a revenue share with projects that happen, but also have a fee share of the participants so that you could have a 50-50 split of that. And the opportunity is that we could open up more chair groups throughout the country, throughout the world, and be able to have access for all our partners and any of the groups that are available. So that's my invitation, that you join our community, join any of our events, join our CoVentures world, and certainly participate as a chair in this world that we're developing.